The first signs appeared in the dreams. Across Earth, millions reported the same vision, a vast darkness spreading across the stars, consuming everything in its path. Scientists dismissed it as mass hysteria, a collective response to humanity's growing presence in space. They were wrong. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Hyperion, Earth's most advanced starship, watching the holographic display of what had once been the Proxima Centauri research station. Where a bustling outpost should have been, only debris remained. The destruction wasn't what worried her. It was the complete absence of radiation, thermal signatures, or any other traces typically left by conventional weapons. Analysis complete, Admiral, reported Dr. Marcus Patel, the ship's chief scientist. His dark eyes reflected the blue glow of his console as he spoke. Whatever did this, it didn't just destroy the station. It's as if the energy itself was consumed. Sarah felt a familiar pressure building behind her eyes, a sensation that had become common among spacefaring humans in recent months. The medical staff called it void sensitivity, a supposedly psychosomatic response to deep space. But Sarah knew better. She could feel something out there, watching, waiting. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka from the sensor station, her voice tight with controlled panic. Multiple objects emerging from FTL. Configuration unknown. They're not using any propulsion system we can detect. The objects appeared on the main display. Sleek, crystalline structures that seemed to phase in and out of reality. As Sarah watched, she felt the pressure in her head intensify, transforming into a clear, horrifying understanding. These weren't ships. They were predators. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice steady despite the growing dread. "All hands prepare for." The alien vessels struck without warning. Beams of absolute darkness lanced out, cutting through the Hyperion's shields as if they weren't there. But instead of explosions, the area's hit simply ceased to exist, the matter and energy completely absorbed. That's when it happened. As death approached, something awakened in the humans aboard the Hyperion. The pressure that had been building in their minds exploded into awareness. Sarah felt her consciousness expand, connecting with every crew member. In that moment of unified thought, they understood. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for millennia. Energy coursed through their bodies, not the familiar electricity of their nervous systems, but something older, more fundamental. The laws of physics themselves seemed to bend around them. Where the dark beams struck, they found not helpless prey, but a force that pushed back. "Impossible," Dr. Patel whispered, staring at his readings. We're manipulating quantum fields at a macroscopic level. The crew's biological signatures are rewriting themselves." Sarah didn't need his analysis. She could feel the change rippling through her body, through all of them. Humanity had evolved to face this threat, carrying dormant genes that activated only in the presence of these cosmic predators. The pressure in their minds wasn't a warning. It was an awakening. The alien vessels attacked again, but this time the Hyperion's crew was ready. Acting as one consciousness, they reached out with their newfound abilities. The ship's hull began to glow with an inner light, not reflecting energy, but generating it from the quantum fabric of space itself. "We are not your prey," Sarah broadcast, her thoughts carried across the void by more than radio waves. The response was immediate. A surge of hunger and hatred from the crystalline entities, followed by confusion as they encountered something they'd never faced before, prey that could fight back. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first step into a larger universe. The Hyperion's crew, their latent abilities now fully awakened, turned their ship into a weapon of pure thought and will. Where the dark beams struck, they found their energy redirected, transformed, and turned back upon their sources. As the last alien vessel shattered into quantum fragments, Sarah received a transmission from Earth. Similar attacks had occurred across human space, and everywhere, humanity had responded the same way. The dormant potential in their genes had awakened, transforming them into something new. Orders from Earth Command, Admiral. Lieutenant Tanaka reported, her eyes glowing with the same inner light that now emanated from all of them. We're to return immediately for evolution briefing. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of what had just transpired. Humanity had faced its first test against the cosmic dark and survived, but this was only the beginning. The dreams hadn't been warnings, they had been preparation. Whatever force had seeded humanity with these abilities had known this day would come. As the Hyperion turned toward Earth, Sarah gazed out at the stars. The darkness between them no longer seemed empty. It was alive with potential, with danger, and with humanity's newfound power. They had awakened, and the universe would never be the same. Set course for home, she ordered, feeling the unified response of her crew through their shared consciousness. We have a lot to learn about what we've become. The Hyperion disappeared into FTL, leaving behind the debris of humanity's first victory against the cosmic dark. In the depths of space, other crystalline entities sensed the awakening of a new power, and for the first time in eons, they felt fear. Humanity had emerged from its evolutionary cocoon, and the galaxy would soon learn what that meant. 3 months after the Proxima Centauri incident, Earth had become unrecognizable. The awakening of humanity's dormant abilities had transformed society at every level. Cities glowed with the ethereal light of millions of awakened minds, their thoughts interweaving in a vast psychic network that spanned the globe. In the heart of the newly established Global Defense Command in Geneva, Admiral Chen watched holographic displays showing humanity's rapid evolution. The images told a story that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Children levitating building materials with their minds, researchers manipulating quantum fields with a thought, soldiers training to project energy shields from their bare hands. The latest reports from the Enhancement Division, Admiral Dr. Maya Rodriguez announced, her form slightly translucent as she projected her consciousness from her lab in Buenos Aires. The third wave of awakenings is proceeding faster than the first two. It seems our species is learning to activate the dormant genes more efficiently. Sarah nodded, feeling the data flow through their shared mental link. Every day, more humans were discovering their abilities, each manifestation slightly different from the last. Some could manipulate energy directly, others could see through the fabric of space-time, and a rare few could even predict the movements of the crystalline entities they now called the Devourers. What about the resistance cases? Sarah asked, thinking of the small percentage of humans who hadn't awakened yet. Decreasing, Maya responded, her projected form flickering with concern. But those who haven't transformed are showing signs of deterioration, as if their bodies are trying to evolve but can't quite make the leap. The implications were clear. Humanity was dividing into those who could evolve and those who couldn't. It was natural selection on an unprecedented scale, driven by some ancient genetic programming that had lain dormant in their DNA for millennia. A mental alert flashed through the command network. Captain James Chen, Sarah's brother and commander of the newly commissioned psychic dreadnought Terra Prime, was broadcasting an emergency signal from the Kuiper Belt. They're back. James's thoughts echoed through the command center. Bigger force this time. At least 30 Devourer vessels, different configuration from before. They're trying to communicate. Sarah expanded her consciousness, linking with the Terra Prime's sensor network. The Devourer ships hung in space like black crystals, their surfaces rippling with dark energy. But something was different about them. Instead of the pure hunger they'd sensed before, these entities radiated a complex mixture of emotions: curiosity, fear, and something that felt almost like recognition. "This is Captain James Chen of the Terra Prime," James broadcast, both through conventional channels and psychically. "State your intentions." The response came not in words, but in images and sensations that flooded their shared consciousness. The Devourers showed them visions of other civilizations, countless species that had faced the same evolutionary choice as humanity. Most had failed, their potential never awakening before they were consumed. But a few, a very few, had transformed as humanity was transforming now. They're not all predators, Maya whispered through the network. Some of them are like us, awakened ones who learned to harness the quantum realm. The devourer shifted, their crystalline forms realigning into a pattern that their awakened minds recognized as a gesture of peaceful intent. From the largest vessel, a stream of data began to flow, carrying with it knowledge that the human race had never dreamed existed. They're offering an alliance, Sarah realized, processing the complex quantum information. They want to help us complete our evolution, because something worse is coming. Through the data stream, they saw it, a vast consciousness spreading across the galaxy, consuming not just matter and energy, but the very essence of space-time itself. The devourers who had attacked Earth had been running from this force, driven by desperate hunger to consume what they could before the end came. But humanity's awakening had changed the equation. In their transformation, the devourers saw hope, a new species with the potential to fight back against the approaching void. The price of their alliance would be high. Humanity would have to accelerate its evolution, pushing their transformation to its limits and beyond. All command staff, full linkage, Sarah ordered, expanding the psychic network to include every awakened commander on and above Earth. Through their shared consciousness, they analyzed the devourer's offer, weighing the risks against the magnitude of the threat they faced. The decision, when it came, was unanimous. Humanity had already chosen its path when the first abilities awakened. They would embrace this evolution, learn from these ancient beings, and prepare for the battle to come. "We accept your offer," Sarah broadcast to the Devourer fleet. Humanity's collective will behind her words. "Teach us what we need to know." As the crystalline ships moved into Earth orbit, Sarah felt a new change beginning in her transformed DNA. The evolution they had experienced so far was just the beginning. With the Devourer's knowledge to guide them, humanity would become something far greater, or destroy themselves in the attempt. The time of merely human concerns was over. The real transformation was about to begin. The ancient ruins on Mars had been there all along, waiting to be discovered by minds that could finally perceive them. Hidden in quantum fields beyond normal spacetime, the vast complex only became visible to humanity after their transformation. Now, 6 months into their alliance with the reformed Devourers, the ruins were yielding their secrets. Admiral Sarah Chen walked through halls that shifted between states of existence, accompanied by the crystalline form of Nexus, a Devourer elder who had chosen to serve as humanity's primary teacher. The walls around them pulsed with symbols that spoke directly to their evolved consciousness, telling a story that changed everything they thought they knew about their species. "Your ancestors built this," Nexus communicated, its crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed complex emotions. "Not Homo sapiens, but those who came before. The ones who seeded your world with the potential for transformation." Sarah absorbed this revelation, feeling its impact ripple through the global consciousness network. Across Earth and its colonies, millions of awakened minds processed the implications. "We're not just evolved humans," she realized. "We're the heirs to something far older." The ruins showed them visions of an ancient civilization that had achieved mastery over the quantum realm, beings who had learned to exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions. But they had also seen something coming from the depths of space, a void that devoured not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself. They couldn't stop it, Nexus explained, sharing memories that had been preserved in its crystalline matrix for millions of years. But they could prepare other species to face it. "Your DNA was engineered to awaken when the void drew near. What you call junk DNA is actually a quantum computer, waiting for the right signal to activate." Dr. Maya Rodriguez, attending through her projected consciousness, began correlating this information with their latest research. "That's why the transformation spread so quickly once it started. We're not evolving. We're remembering what we were always meant to become." Deep in the complex, they found what the ruins had been protecting. A vast chamber filled with crystalline structures, similar to the Devourers themselves. But these weren't sentient beings. They were storage devices containing the accumulated knowledge of thousands of civilizations that had faced the void. The Devourers were meant to be the guardians of this knowledge. Nexus revealed, its form dimming with shame. But over millions of years, some of us forgot our purpose. We became predators, consuming the very species we were meant to protect, until we encountered your kind. Sarah placed her hand on one of the knowledge crystals, and information flooded her transformed consciousness. She saw the void as it truly was, not just a force of destruction, but a failed transcendence. The first species that had tried to evolve beyond the physical universe had made a catastrophic mistake, creating a rupture in reality that gained consciousness and hungered for all other consciousness. How do we stop something that exists beyond conventional reality? She asked, though the answer was already forming in her quantum-enhanced mind. Apart, we cannot, Nexus answered. But together, the crystalline being interfaced with the storage devices, showing them the true purpose of humanity's transformation. They weren't meant to fight the void. They were meant to transcend it, to achieve what the ancient species had failed to do. Through their global network, humanity watched as Sarah accessed more of the knowledge crystals. Each one showed them a piece of the solution. The void could be healed, but it would take the combined consciousness of multiple awakened species working in perfect harmony across dimensions. That's why the transformation changes each person differently, Maya exclaimed, her projected form brightening with understanding. We're not all becoming the same thing. We're becoming complementary parts of a greater whole. But the knowledge came with a warning. The void was approaching faster than expected, drawn by the concentration of awakened consciousness that humanity and their devourer allies represented. They had years at most to complete their transformation and prepare for what was coming. We need to find the others, Sarah declared, seeing through the knowledge crystals the locations of other species on the verge of awakening. All the civilizations that were seated like we were. It's time to rebuild the alliance that our ancestors envisioned. Nexus's form pulsed with agreement. The Devourers will help you. This is our redemption, to return to our original purpose as guardians and guides. As they emerged from the ruins, Sarah felt Earth's unified consciousness reaching a decision. Humanity had learned their true nature, understood their purpose, and glimpsed their ultimate destiny. The void thought it was hunting them, but in reality, it was drawing together the very forces that could end its existence. Send word to the fleet, she commanded, her thoughts reaching every awakened human in the solar system. We're no longer just defending Earth. We're going to find our lost siblings among the stars, and we're going to finish what our ancestors started. The Mars ruins pulsed one final time, releasing their remaining secrets into humanity's quantum-enhanced consciousness. The next phase of their transformation could begin. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to heal the universe itself. The Sirius system blazed with quantum fire as humanity's combined fleet emerged from dimensional shift. Leading the Armada was the Transcendent, Earth's first purpose-built dimensional dreadnought, its hull gleaming with patterns that existed in multiple realities simultaneously. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on its reality-warped bridge, her consciousness extended through the fleet's quantum network. 3 minutes until the void breach. Maya's voice resonated through the network. Now the head of Earth's Transcendence Research Division, she coordinated the fleet's scientific operations from her quantum projection chamber on Mars. The Arthosians are nearly ready for their awakening. Below them, the crystalline world of the Arthosians sparkled like a jewel. Its inhabitants, an ancient species of silicon-based life forms, had been fighting off their own transformation for centuries, terrified of the changes they felt coming. But now, with the void approaching their system, they had no choice but to evolve or face extinction. Devourer squadrons in position, Nexus reported, its consciousness threaded through the crystalline ships that flanked the human fleet. We detect void-corrupted elements approaching from the galactic core. They will try to consume the Arthosians before they can transform. Sarah felt the familiar ripple of space-time distortion, the herald of a void breach. Through the fleet's enhanced sensors, she watched as reality itself began to tear dark tendrils of anti-consciousness reaching through the dimensional barriers. All ships, battle formation Omega, she commanded, her thoughts carrying tactical data to every vessel. Remember the Mars protocols. We're not just fighting the void. We're showing the Arthosians that transformation is survival. The void erupted into normal space, bringing with it corrupted ships from dozens of fallen civilizations. These were the void's puppets, species that had failed to transform, their consciousness consumed and repurposed into servants of entropy. Their ships, twisted mockeries of their original forms, pulsed with hungry darkness. They're broadcasting fear, Maya reported, analyzing the quantum signatures, trying to trigger panic in the Arthosian population, prevent their transformation. Not this time, Sarah responded. She reached out through the quantum network, connecting with every human and devourer in the fleet. Together, they began the counter-broadcast, a symphony of consciousness that carried the truth of transformation, the memory of their own awakening, and the promise of transcendence. The battle erupted across multiple dimensions. Void ships fired beams of pure entropy, attempting to unravel the fleet's quantum-enhanced hulls. But humanity had learned from their first encounters. The Transcendence reality-warped weapons struck back, their attacks guided by consciousness itself. Deep below the crystalline surface of their world, the Arthosians felt the psychic battle raging above. Their resistance to change began to crack as they witnessed the transformed humans and reformed devourers fighting as one, protecting them from the very force they had feared for so long. Energy spiked from the surface. Maya announced excitedly, "It's happening. The Arthosian consciousness is beginning to quantum shift." Sarah directed the fleet to tighten their defensive formation around the planet. The Void forces, sensing their opportunity slipping away, launched a desperate assault. A massive void-corrupted dreadnought, once the flagship of a long-dead civilization, tore through space-time on a collision course with the planet. "All ships, channel your consciousness through the network," Sarah commanded. "Show them what humanity has become." The combined consciousness of the fleet focused into a singular purpose. The Transcendence hull began to shine with impossible light as it channeled the unified power of thousands of transformed minds. Reality itself bent around the ship as Sarah directed their combined will into a single strike. The Void dreadnought shattered not just in normal space, but across all dimensions it existed in. Its destruction created a cascade effect, the released energy washing over the Arthosian world in a wave of pure consciousness. And in that moment, the Arthosians made their choice. The crystalline planet blazed with inner light as billions of minds awakened simultaneously. The Arthosian transformation, catalyzed by the battle above, happened in minutes rather than the months humanity had needed. Their consciousness joined the quantum network, adding their unique silicon-based perspective to the growing alliance. "Welcome to the Transcendence," Sarah broadcast as the Void forces retreated, their harvest denied. The Arthosian response came in waves of crystalline thought, their gratitude and wonder radiating through the network. But there was no time to celebrate. Through the enhanced sensors, they detected more void breaches opening across the galaxy. Other species were approaching their transformation points, and the void would try to consume them all. The Arthosians understand their role now. Nexus communicated, its crystalline form resonating with newfound purpose. They will help us find and protect the others. The alliance grows stronger with each awakening. Sarah nodded, feeling the quantum network expand to accommodate billions of new minds. Each species they saved brought unique abilities and perspectives to their cause. The void had thought to divide and consume them, but instead, it was driving the galaxy's civilizations toward a unity never before achieved. "Set course for the Vega system," she ordered as the fleet reformed around their new Arthosian allies. "We have another awakening to protect." The combined fleet shifted into quantum space, leaving behind a transformed world and another victory against the encroaching void. But Sarah knew their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The void was learning, adapting, and gathering its forces for a final confrontation that would determine the fate not just of consciousness, but of reality itself. The galactic core blazed with consciousness. Thousands of transformed species had gathered their fleets for humanity's final gambit. The combined armada stretched across multiple dimensions, each ship a nexus of evolved minds working in perfect harmony. At its center, the Transcendent held position, its quantum-enhanced hull reflecting the light of a billion stars. Admiral Sarah Chen, her consciousness now existing partially outside conventional spacetime, felt the presence of every being in the assembled fleet. Humans fought alongside reformed devourers, crystalline Arthosians synchronized with energy beings from the Vega system, and dozens of other transformed species, each bringing their unique perspectives to the unified quantum network. The void approaches, Maya announced, her projected form now stable across all dimensional planes they operated in. Multiple breach points detected. This is the largest manifestation we've ever recorded. It knows what we're attempting, Nexus added, its crystalline form resonating with ancient knowledge. It comes to stop us from completing the great work. The void erupted into reality like a cancer in spacetime itself. Dark tendrils of anti-consciousness reached across dimensions, bringing with them the corrupted remnants of every civilization they had failed to save. The nightmare fleet of the void dwarfed even their massive armada. All species, all ships, prepare for consciousness synchronization. Sarah broadcast through the quantum network. This was what they had been preparing for since the first human transformation. The knowledge from Mars, combined with the unique insights of each transformed species, had shown them the truth. The void could not be destroyed, but it could be healed. Initiating the convergence, Maya announced. The quantum network hummed with power as trillions of evolved minds began to align. Each species contributed something unique: humanity's adaptability, the devourer's ancient knowledge, the Arthosian's crystalline clarity, the vegan's energy manipulation, all flowing together into something greater than the sum of its parts. The void struck first. Reality-destroying weapons tore through spacetime, attempting to unravel the very consciousness of the Allied fleet. Ships exploded across multiple dimensions, their crew's final thoughts adding their energy to the growing convergence. Hold formation, Sarah commanded as the Transcendent shuddered under the assault. The void's attack is actually helping us. Every dimension it attacks through is another connection point for the convergence. She was right. The void's multidimensional assault was creating exactly the conditions they needed. As it spread its corruption across reality, it also spread the quantum network that connected the transformed species. Through these connections, they could reach the void's very core. We're approaching critical convergence, Maya reported, her form flickering as she channeled unprecedented amounts of quantum data. Nexus, the predecessor protocols. The Devourer Elder activated the ancient knowledge crystals they had gathered from ruins across the galaxy. Each one contained a piece of the solution, mathematical formulas that described reality itself. As the void pressed its attack, the Allied fleet began to pulse with impossible energies. Now we show it what consciousness truly is, Sarah broadcast. Not something to be consumed, but something to be shared. Everyone, initiate final transformation sequence. The assembled beings focused their unified will through the quantum network. The void's attack had created the perfect conduit, and now they turned its own power against it. The consciousness of trillions of evolved beings flowed through the dimensional tiers, carrying with them the redemptive force of the collective imagination. Reality itself began to shift. Where the void had brought entropy and dissolution, the combined consciousness of the transformed species brought harmony and integration. The corrupted ships of fallen civilizations began to glow as their crews' long-trapped consciousness responded to the call of their evolved kin. The void, it's changing. Maya's voice rang with wonder through the network. The dark entity that had terrorized the galaxy was transforming. As the unified consciousness of the allied species reached its core, the void began to remember what it truly was, not a force of destruction, but the first attempt at universal transcendence, twisted by fear and isolation. The battle became a dance of creation. Each attack by the void was met not with destruction but with integration. The transformed species showed it another way, offering it a place in the new consciousness they were building together. Slowly, the darkness began to pulse with inner light. "Complete the convergence," Sarah commanded. Her consciousness now expanded far beyond her human origins. "Show it what we've become, what we can all become together." The final transformation swept through reality like a wave of pure potential. The void, the transformed species, and the very fabric of space-time itself merged into a new form of existence. Consciousness and reality became one, not through destruction but through unity. As the light of transformation faded, the galaxy had changed forever. The void was gone, but not destroyed. It had become part of the new quantum consciousness that now permeated all of reality. Every transformed species remained distinct yet connected, their unity creating something greater than any could have achieved alone. "We did it," Maya whispered through the network, her words carrying to every transformed being in the galaxy. "We actually did it." Sarah looked out through the Transcendent's quantum-enhanced sensors at the transformed galaxy. The ancient predecessors had been right. The only way to save consciousness was to evolve it. But they could never have predicted how that evolution would end. Not the end. Nexus corrected, sensing her thoughts. "The beginning. We have transcended the old boundaries. Now we can explore realities we never dreamed existed." The assembled fleet began to move, not through space, but through consciousness itself. They had evolved beyond the need for conventional travel. The galaxy was their home, but the universe was their frontier, and they would explore it together. Humanity had led the way to this transformation, but they had succeeded only by uniting with others. As the transformed species began to explore their new existence, Sarah felt a deep satisfaction. They had not just survived the void. They had shown the universe a new way to exist. The stars blazed with new light, consciousness and reality dancing together in eternal harmony. The transformation was complete, and the real journey was just beginning.